My old co-worker had a son that was in his mid-30s, and he had a son named Hunter that was 4 or 5. She said that Hunter would have bad dreams and that he would sleep with his dad when he got scared. One night his dad woke up because he heard Hunter calling him, but he was calling him by name, not Dad. So he went to his room and he was asleep. He woke him up and said, "Hunter, you were calling me. Is everything okay?" And Hunter said, "Dad, when they call you, you're not supposed to answer," and fell back asleep. He asked him about it in the morning, but he said he didn't remember saying it. I get chills when I think about it. A college student decided to visit one of his friends. He was excited because he hadn't seen his friend in a while. When he got to his friend's house, he found the young man laying in bed, hiding beneath the covers. They talked for a while, and the student found his friend's behavior very strange. After a while, he stood up to leave, and his friend suddenly said, "You can't go." His voice was urgent, and his face was dead serious. "Why not?" asked the student. "She won't let you leave," replied his friend in a fearful voice. "She?" asked the student, looking around the room curiously. "Who's she?" He couldn't see anybody else in the room. "If you go, she will follow you and kill you," said his friend. The student stared at his friend incredibly. He saw his friend glance towards the chest of drawers in the corner of the room. He followed his friend's eyes, looking at the chest of drawers, and a chill ran down his spine. There, in the shadows of the narrow 5-centimeter gap between the wall and the dresser, he saw a paper-thin woman staring back at him. In her hand, she was clutching an ice pick. There was a 20-year-old girl who lived with her boyfriend. Their life together was a perfect idyll, and they both hoped that nothing would happen to change it. Each time they embraced, she told her boyfriend that she could not live without him. He assured her that he felt the same way. They were madly in love. One Saturday night, as every Saturday night, they went out to a nightclub to celebrate the birthday of a friend. While they were there, they drank way too much alcohol. They returned home very late and eager to get to bed. They took a shortcut and drove at high speed. The next morning, when they both woke up, they felt that something about their relationship had changed. Their mutual understanding was somehow different. They no longer spoke, no longer touched, no longer kissed. In short, they almost completely ignored each other. That evening, they both found themselves watching TV together. The news came on, and there was a story about a fatal car accident that happened the night before. The newscaster said that one of the victims had died and one had survived. When the pictures of the 2 victims flashed up on the screen, the girl and her boyfriend were horrified. They were staring at their own faces. The most terrifying thing was that there was one question that remained unanswered. Which one of them was the ghost? Suddenly, you hear the front door creak open. Whew, you can finally get some sleep. You call out to your mom, hoping she'd lock the door so you don't have to go downstairs. She doesn't respond, but it's nothing too unusual. Her hearing's been a bit dodgy recently, probably due to her new boss. She shuffles into the kitchen, and you return your gaze back to the screen of your laptop. True, you need to sleep as soon as possible, but there were a few things to do first. As you refresh your newsfeed for the 10th time, You spot something on the screen. No, not on the screen, reflected onto it. Something in the window behind you. You whip around, but there isn't anything out there in the darkness. It's probably nothing, just a bug or whatever. You turn back to Facebook and pick up the latest on some giant argument between some popular kids. You refresh to keep up with the stream of new comments, when all of a sudden you lose connection. Dumb fucking router. It always cuts out on you at random moments. You make a mental note to remind your mom, who's fiddling around in the kitchen still, to buy a new one. You get up, walk out of your room, and thump down the stairs. Disgruntled, you walk into the living room and crouch down next to the main computer to restart the router. Strange, the lights on it are all off, as if it's been unplugged. Whatever. As you go to turn on the router, the phone on the desk begins to ring. You stand up, narrowly missing the edge of the table to pick it up. Hey, sweetie, I'm so sorry, the train's been late again. Ugh. I'll be home in a bit. I'm sorry I'm making you wait up for me. It's just that. And the line goes dead. On a dark night, a 15-year-old girl named Lydia was walking home from her friend's house. She turned down a narrow street to take a shortcut and was startled by the sight of an old man standing in her path. When she stopped, the old man turned to her and in a hoarse voice said, "Tell me the way." His face was disgusting, his skin covered in scars and boils, his hair stringy and unkempt, his eyes bulging horribly, almost popping out of their sockets. Lydia was terrified. She was alone in a dark and narrow alleyway with a strange and disturbing person. Her heart began pounding and took her a few seconds to catch her breath. "Tell me the way," the old man demanded. Okay, where are you going?" asked Lydia nervously. When the old man told her the address he was searching for, a chill ran down her spine. It was her house. "I don't know where that is," she replied, as she pushed past the old man and ran down the alleyway. Glancing back, she could see him standing in the alley, watching her flee. Lydia was so freaked out by the incident that she didn't stop running until she got back to her house. Breathing a sigh of relief, she took out her keys. She looked up and down the street to make sure the old man hadn't followed her. It was empty. She turned the key, unlocked the door, and pushed it open. From the darkness inside her house, a hoarse voice said, "Tell me the way." In a girls' school in the Philippines, it was the first day of the new semester. The girls were all in their classroom and getting used to their new desks. When the school bell rang, the teacher walked and introduced himself to the class. Then he started to do roll call, trying to make sure all of his students were present. When he had finished, he noticed that there was one girl whose name hadn't been called. The girl was dressed in a white shirt and jeans and was sitting in the front row, directly across from his desk. He asked the girl if she was in the wrong classroom. She didn't answer and just stared at him with a blank face. He repeated his question and she remained motionless. Suddenly, he noticed that the girl was bleeding from her forehead. The entire class screamed as the girl stood up, walked right past the teacher, and disappeared straight through the blackboard. A woman kept having reoccurring dreams in which a masked man was trying to kill her. The mask was very distinctive. It was spiked at the top with no eye holes and it had a large zipper across the mouth. The mask was made of leather, and one night she had another nightmare. In the dream, she looked out her bedroom window and saw the masked man walking up her garden path and towards her front door. She awoke from the nightmare, trembling with fear. Suddenly, she heard the doorbell ring. She grabbed her nightgown and ran downstairs. Cautiously, she opened the front door. There was nobody there. She looked down and saw the leather mask lying on the doorstep. This happened in one of the elementary schools in Japan. It was 8 p.m. and time to close up the school. One teacher who worked long hours in the staff room packed his bags and left. He was about to lock the gate when he saw a group of dark figures in the distance. They were on the football field. It looked as though it was a group of boys kicking a ball back and forth. "Hey, what are you doing there?" shouted the teacher. "Come on, it's time to go home. I have to lock up." The boys continued playing and paid no attention to him. "Don't pretend you can't hear me," shouted the teacher angrily. "The school is closed. Quickly now, go out the gate." Just then, one of the figures kicked the football high into the air. It landed on the grass and came rolling over to the teacher. When it stopped at his feet, he looked down, and the blood suddenly drained from his face. He was overcome with horror. It wasn't a football. It was a boy's severed head.
If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.